go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Where I'm at. Sing it with us. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Where I'm at. There'll be freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. Where I'm at. There'll be freedom in that land. Oh, freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. Where I'm at. There'll be justice. There'll be justice in that land. I know there'll be justice in that land. Oh, where I'm at. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where I'm at. There'll be singing. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Where I'm at. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Where I'm at. That's fantastic. We got some good rhythm going already. We can use some more percussion instruments. Join me. Oh, there's a nice one here. Somebody make it more interesting. Somebody go further. Go. Come and go with me. To that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Where I'm at. Come and go with me to that land. Where no, it's Sarah, it's good. You were saving it for your solo. You did a fine job. You ready for us? Back her up.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ann Arbor, Michigan. For over 155 years, our community has been gathering together to grow, to learn, to offer support, and to work for justice. One of the gifts of this virtual time period has been that we're no longer bound by our one building. We can gather together from all across the state, across the country, even across the world. On that note, I'd like to offer a special welcome to our friends from the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Rockville, Maryland. We are so grateful to be in community with you together today. Of course, this time of year would normally be the time when we would host our annual Big Sing, which is a weekend-long celebration of singing in community. We can't gather together in the same way this year, but we can still use our time together today to celebrate the power and beauty of our voices. One of the ways that we gather our many voices into one each week is by beginning our time together with the lighting of the chalice. Our chalice is a reminder of our connections to Unitarian Universalists all over the world and to our living tradition. So I invite you to join me, either in spirit or by lighting your own chalice at home. Together, let us say, we light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace. Another way that we gather together each week is by beginning our time together with our congregation's covenant. As Unitarian Universalists, we are not bound together by one single common belief, but by our covenant, the promises we make to one another about how we will be together. So whether you have these words memorized or whether this is your first time here, please join me as we say, the spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth in love, and to help one another.
Digging your well, don't think about getting off from work. Work, keep digging your well, water is there somewhere. Work, keep digging your well, submit to a daily practice. Work, keep digging your well, your loyalty to that is a ring on the door. Knocking and the joy inside will eventually open a window. Keep knocking and the joy inside will eventually look out to see who's there. And the joy inside will eventually open a window. Keep knocking and the joy inside will eventually look out to see who's there. Work, keep digging your well, don't think about getting off from work. Work, keep digging your well, water is there somewhere.
as we continue moving with the spirit of art and creativity this week, the spirit of music and how it nurtures our souls, how it lifts us up, connects us to one another, moves us deeper into our own spiritual being, ground of being. As we honor and celebrate all of that, I invite us into a time of shared spiritual practice. This week, engaging together in a few moments of silent meditation, shared together. As we do so, I'm reminded of the words of some of my instructors in this tradition, in the Shambhala Tibetan Buddhist tradition of meditation. The jazz musician Jerry Granelli, who reminds me that the beautiful artistic creativity of the brain that has generated so much innovation and insight for us as human beings can also be a creative source of troublemaking, getting us caught up in, spun up in interpretations, opinions, and judgments that separate us from one another, that create harm in relationship, that block us from one another. A spiritual practice such as meditation invites us to step out of the stream of thinking, move just to the side, so that we can notice that stream and bring self-awareness to it. An interpretation. A judgment. An opinion. Are those the only things present in the situation? What information might I be blocked off from because of my interpretation, opinion, or judgment? How might I create curiosity and capacity and awareness to other perspectives, other opinions, other facts that are not included in the current set of thinking, opinions, judgments, opinions that I'm streaming, that are a part of my reality? Self-awareness in this respect moves us towards open-heartedness. It is not a practice simply for the purpose of being still, or simply for the purpose of noticing what's actually happening in the environment around us here and now. It is a cultivated practice of deepening our presence to ourselves, and through that, inviting curiosity about what we might be missing, what else might exist that we haven't fully brought our attention and awareness to. It's through this way that blockages can be overcome or cleared, that we can invite ourselves into a deeper form of awareness and presence with one another across difference, across different needs, across different interpretations. Self-awareness for the purpose of deepening relationship with the world, with ourselves, with others. It's into such a time that I'd like to invite you now. We'll take 3 brief minutes together. They'll go by quickly. And in the Shambhala tradition, we sit in silence with a clear posture, back straight. Not anything that may cause you any pain. You know your body better than I do. Adjust things as needed. And in this tradition, we keep our eyes open. We don't close them during meditation as a signifier that awareness is for the purpose of deeper engagement with our world and with our reality. You'll hear 3 short bells that invite us into a time of stillness, greater presencing of ourselves with ourselves. During that, I invite you to notice your thinking. Don't just be caught in the stream of it. See if you can step to the side and just lightly watch what arises. There's a thought. There's a need. There's an opinion. There's an interpretation or a judgment. Notice it without bringing any additional interpretation to it. Just notice what comes up. Try not to follow the line of thought. If you would join me now in a few brief moments of shared meditation. as we come back together, may those moments of stillness find you, and may you find them as we cultivate together, individually and collectively, the presence, the mindfulness, the self-awareness that allows us to move into deeper relationship with one another. May it be so.
My first conducting mentor put an open hand stop sign of a gesture between himself and the headphones I offered him. He told me right then and there that he did not listen to recordings of pieces he was currently conducting. He also told me, though I didn't ask, that he didn't listen to his own recordings much either. All I would hear is the stuff I'd want to fix, he said. And I regularly recall, for reasons I still can't tell. My second conducting mentor required all of us to keep a library of every single one of the recordings of any rehearsal we had led, even the 4-minute rehearsals, even the rehearsals when we were not at school. What's more, the teacher was present at each of those rehearsals, usually seated just out of your periphery, and in a quiet rumble everyone in the room could hear, really, would record a direct, critical commentary of your technique, attire, motivation skills, methods for taking attendance, chair spacing, your time management, seating choices, preparedness, your stories, your jokes. Did I mention preparedness? Musicality, posture, and imagination, all ferociously and in great detail. This encounter with our mentor's voice was daily, is daily, and unrelenting. I'm not kidding. I still hear him when I can't hear my own voice. Their student is me. I critique my own work and art constantly. I spend a lot of time reflecting to find the wisdom I need to be a better teacher. I tend to process even the emotional work of criticism quite methodically in my mind. And I've grown to love this part of me. And I can't stand it. Any minute of the process. I've never grown immune to the disappointment of my own perfectionism. Perfectionism is such a hard lesson to unlearn. I love it when people want to play my music or show someone else their favorite recording of mine. Yet it genuinely embarrasses me when the time comes to actually press the play button and share the sound of me with another. I found myself in this same thinking place, in the same space of quiet and pause as I was about to listen to the recordings we're about to hear, taken from the Big Sing 2015 and 2016, our first open invitation choir festivals. I was excited to hear our voices and remember deeply the time when singing in the same room was something we could liberally give away. And I was nervous of the presence of all the things I wouldn't like about what we had done. Nervous that the things I'd change would be a mile-long distraction from joy. Even though 15 years with this community of singers has shown all this anxiety very likely unnecessary. And I've come to trust these singers more deeply with my music than anything I can articulate. They have held my music with as much willingness to care as I hope I have held their voices in my heart and pedagogy. My body taught me something in that hesitation. The stillness as I slowed to press the play button with a reverence this time. We tend to think of singers as possessing some sort of you have it or you don't confidence that keeps us unafraid of the sound of our own voices, and that's why we sing in public. or something. The truth is, we are, the whole human race of us are, just as mysteriously reticent to make space, to love the music of the body, of our own bodies, as any other one of us. Just as reluctant to employ the voice with more power than aggression. A great many of us have endured embarrassing moments where our voices were spoken of in unkind ways or not chosen for the ensemble of our dreams with a scoff, or made to sing or forced to keep quiet because the arts are a girly thing, or our opinions are not wanted. So many of us carry the memories and scars of trauma on the voice without knowing it. Singers from around the world are confronting the sound of their own voice and their musical missteps as they, for the first time in our history, become the sole arbiters of their progress in choir rehearsal. As they submit voice recordings to be combined into these things we call virtual choirs. For the first time, there is nowhere to hide in the music. Nowhere. The insecurity which comes from suddenly being alone with your own voice and your own criticism can be devastating to endure. We say some cruel things to ourselves. But singers are pressing the record button. And here's the lesson. Singers are learning new ways to help singing continue. And as a result, the prospect of pausing to perceive the relevant, resonating, imperfect truths, which are ours, hearing our own voices for its beauties and its flaws. They can stress the heart to terror and flight. This means learning to relax, finding balance. Learning to relax the grip on the fears of full expression of our bodies. It will mean stopping to say, oh my, I wouldn't do that again. And mean it in our reflections without needing to tax the heart its sense of worth or goodness. It means becoming neither timid nor self-possessed of our mistakes. It means accounting well of those mistakes and becoming accountable to each of them. It means making the space to look back, to take joy, to be willing to love and have pride in how much and what gorgeous truth we have sown into the air of the past. It also means making space to greet the width of flaw with an honest, open gesture. An honesty about how much we have grown, about our missteps, and an honesty about how many of the parts are still forgotten, and a will to show up again, to keep justice alive, despite perfection. That is the voice mate of all of ours. Singers are pressing the record button anyway and confronting the truth of their voices. And with these daring, tiny choices of theirs, they have unlocked the choice of ours to keep singing together, itself alive. Sometimes what it means to show up for justice is to rest. Rest, but do not resign. What is the truth which wants to love you back to balance? The truth you find when you give your reactions and reflexes the handful of breaths they need to relax into wisdom, power, and miraculous change.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. And I'm going to keep on, and I'm going to keep on till I find it. There is more love. There is more love. Somewhere. Somewhere.
There is more hope.
There is more hope. Somewhere. There is
There is more peace.
There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace
There is more joy. It takes a whole village to raise our children. It takes a whole village to raise one child. We all, everyone, must share the burden. We all, everyone, must share the joy. It takes a whole village to raise our children. love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night. Love will guide us, love. Peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Love will guide. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us. He'll lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us. Love will guide through the hard night. Love will guide us. Love will. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us. He'll lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us. Love will guide us through. We're almost there.
Something happens at the big sing at the end of the rehearsal day. You won't see it on video. You won't hear the conversations or the observations being shared in small groups during a time of reflection. You won't learn what the singers and musicians noticed or wondered about after spending a day in intense practice together. In that moment, taking time for intentional reflection opens up space for curiosity, awareness, and learning. That moment is a break from the doing of rehearsing together, the singing together, the co-creating of the loud and visible work that you just witnessed in the video clips. In our work for justice, in the efforts to live our values, we all need to take time for this practice of reflection, deepening our presence with ourselves, noticing our interpretation of the events we are involved in, taking time to acknowledge and sit with our discomfort when we realize something we said or did, even if unintended, if in the past, was spoken or done without enough care, or was done in haste or with a partial understanding of the context. Reflection in this sense, then, is not just an empty space to be in, but an active space. It is both and. Intentional times of reflection, alone or in a group, give us a chance to reevaluate our choices, to see how we have grown over time, how much we have learned. But then what? What do we do with that learning? How do we, as a congregation, a choir, an individual, embody justice in every breath? Can we do it without the reward of being seen and heard all the time? Can we accept that doing the work is also quiet, personal, and not very visible? May we learn through intentional reflection that we as Unitarian Universalists have been called to sing on and to march on for the things that matter, that in living our values, we have no choice but to march on in ways that are appropriate, respectful, and grounded in love. It's not easy, my friends, but we can learn how to do this together. Amen. Ashe, and may it be so.
that you won't let show. When you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. See? Let's bring it home strong, everybody.
What a beautiful thing it is to be together, to have one another to lean on in community, in sharing our gifts together with one another. So much love and gratitude on this day for our Chalice singers, for all of those who are engaged in our community's music program, so vibrant, dynamic, and life-giving as it is. So much gratitude for those who help lead one of our community's strongest and most inspiring programs. Reverend Theresa Rohlck, Allison Halerz, Dr. Glen Thomas Rideout. Our hearts, love, and gratitude are with you all for all of the ways in which you help lead, guide, nurture, and inspire our community. If you feel moved by that sense of inspiration, that sense of connection, belonging, and meaning-making, we invite you to give as generously as circumstances might allow in support of our community's programs and ministry. You may do so by going to www.uuaa.org/giving. We gratefully receive any and all contributions that you may be able and willing to offer. In addition, we offer a warm invitation for those who might be interested in an opportunity for greater one-on-one connection with others in community following the conclusion of this live stream. You may join us for our social time by going to www.uuaa.org/social hour, and you can meet others in community there. If you are newer to our community, it's your first, second time, or early days in getting to know us, please identify yourself as such to a moderator as you enter that space, and they'll help guide you accordingly. We offer a warm thanks to our siblings in faith, the Unitarian Universalists in Rockville, Maryland. Thank you for joining us today. We are grateful that we could share this time of spiritual renewal with your community as well. Next week, we hope our community members will join us in worship together with the Church of the River in Memphis, Tennessee, our siblings over there. We will do so 1/2 hour later than our usual time. Instead of 11:30 Eastern, we will meet at 12 noon, and you can join that worship service with Church of the River through our community's usual link for Sunday services, www.uuaa.org/service. With that, go in peace, go in love, go knowing that you are held deeply and well in the warm embrace of this community until we are with one another again. Go in peace.